Are you overwhelmed and stressed out with the thought of homeschooling a high schooler? You're worried maybe about planning and making sure you got all the right courses in that your student needs to take. And then there's record keeping. What records do you need to keep so that you can create a transcript and get your child into college or into a job or into the military? Well, I know exactly how you feel. I was so overwhelmed when I took my first child through the high school years as a homeschool mom. But now that I am taking a second child through, I have a lot more confidence because I know exactly how to plan for the high school years and what records I need to keep. And I'm excited in this 3-part video to be sharing all of that information with you. In this video, we're going to look at how to plan for the high school years. And then in the next video, we'll take a look at how to keep records for the high school years. And finally, we'll wrap up with a third video all about grading. We're going to answer a lot of questions in these next 3 videos. So let's jump in to how you plan for the 4 years of high school. There are a few forms that I like to have before I start planning for the high school years, and all of these forms that I'm going to show you in this video can be found in my shop. They are included in the Homeschool Planner Printable Complete Pack as well as the Homeschool High School Forms Pack. So either one of those will include all the forms that I am showing you today. So I like to have my high school 4-year planning sheet. And then I also like to have my high school 4-year planning sheet by semester. This is a 2-sheet spread here. It covers 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, and 12th grade, but it just breaks it up by semester, including summer, just in case your student does some work in the summer. And then the other thing that I think is really important to have is your course requirements. And I have this sample high school course requirements included in my printable packs that you can look at and use as a guide for your own homeschool. So let's go ahead and just look at how we actually use these to plan the high school years. The first thing that is really important to do before we even start planning courses for our student is to determine graduation requirements. And that is what this sample high school course requirements is all about. Depending on where you homeschool, this may be determined for you by the state or an umbrella program that you're a part of, or you might need to determine the graduation requirements for your homeschool on your own. If that is the case, if you need to determine these graduation requirements yourself, there's 2 places that I encourage you to go check out to help you determine what your student needs to do to graduate from your homeschool in the high school years. The first place is to go look at the graduation requirements at your local high school. That's going to give you a good idea of just what a typical high school student is required to complete to graduate from high school. And the high school graduation requirements that I see at my local high schools is what I use to determine the number of required credits for my student to graduate from my high school from our home. The second place to look is to go and look at the admission requirements of the college that your teen is considering attending. So any colleges that you think your student might want to attend in the future, go look on their website, find out what the admission requirements are. Those requirements are what I put in the suggested number of credits. And so let me walk you through how I do this. What I have is a list here of all of the subjects that I want my students to complete before they graduate. That includes English, math, science, history, social studies, kind of the same thing, foreign language, fine arts, physical education, and for our homeschool, since we are Christians, I want my kids to have Bible courses. Now, I have up here that a minimum of 24 credits are required for graduation in our homeschool. Some high schools, you will see, only require 20 credits to graduate, some 21, 22, 23, but 24 is a good thing to shoot for. That would be about 6 credits each year. And then I say these credits must include the following, which would be these right here: plus additional electives. So obviously these are not going to add up to 24. So then they would add in extra electives that they, want to take. And I have a couple videos about how to create your own high school elective courses and all of that. I will link those down below in the description box. So what I do is I have the subjects that I know that my student needs to take. They need to cover these subjects to graduate from my high school. Then the number of credits required right here are based off of kind of what the average public and private high schools require for graduation. That's usually about 3 credits for English, 2 for math, 2 for science, about 3 for history, social studies, usually about 1 foreign language, at least 1 fine arts, 2 for physical education, and that varies depending on your state. And then, of course, I require 2 Bible credits to graduate from our high school. If my student is college bound, and honestly, I kind of assume that all of my children are going to be college bound, even the ones that I don't think, might not go to college, I still want to try to shoot for the college suggested number of credits to graduate from our high school, because I don't want to just assume they're not going to go to college and then their senior year they decide, you know what, Mom, I think I want to go to college, and me go, oh man, we weren't shooting for that. So I try to aim for this, knowing that this really is all that is required for them to graduate from our homeschool. So for me here, I have that they should have 4 years or 4 credits of English to graduate, because most colleges do require 4 credits of English to be admitted into their school. I have here 3 credits for math and 4 if they're going into a math field. The reason I have 3 here is because most colleges want to see that in the high school years that your student has gotten through Algebra 2. So they've done Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. And so those are usually taken in high school, so I want to make sure my kids get all 3 of those in. If your student has done those, or at least one of them in the junior high years, you can put that on their transcript, even though they did it in the junior high years, as long as they've gotten through Algebra 2. But of course, if they're going into a math field, they're probably going to want more math credits. For science, most colleges want 2 to 3, but I put 3 here along with 1 lab, because they're usually looking for things like chemistry, biology, and physics. For history and social science, I'm shooting for my kids to get 4 in, but honestly, sometimes 3 would be okay, but we're shooting here for 4. Foreign language, I have 3 as kind of the aim, but honestly, most colleges are usually okay. If you have 2, they usually want you to have, and I don't know if you can see down here, they want you to have 2 to 3 of the same language. So not 1 year of Spanish and 1 year of French, or not 1 year of, Spanish and 1 year of sign language. They want 2 years of the exact same language. And then for fine arts, I have 2. Then physical education and Bible are the same, both 2 credits for that. So once you have your high school course requirements down, then you can start planning for the high school years. So let's look at how I move from what the requirements are to actually planning that out on my planning sheet. So now it's actually time to start planning for the high school years. I've already got my course requirements laid out, what my student needs to do to graduate from our high school and what they need to kind of aim for if we're looking at college. I've got my high school 4-year planning sheet. I've got a pencil with an eraser, although mine's kind of wearing off already there because I've already been using a lot. This is a planning sheet. This is not set in stone. This is going to change, and actually my 9th grade one is already changing. When I'm done with this video, I'm actually going to be erasing some of these things and moving them around. And throughout the course of your 4 years, your students' 4 years of high school, this is going to be moved around. That's what a planning sheet is for. It is to plan. Another good thing besides a pencil would be using these Frixion erasable markers, but you want something that's erasable so that you can move things around. Then after you have the planning done, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute, I like to use this planning sheet to actually record what my student actually did. As you can see, this is completely blank, and the reason it is blank is because my daughter has not done any high school work yet. We're just getting started in a couple weeks on her 9th grade first semester. When 9th grade first semester is done, I will write in all the courses that she did first semester, and I will write in their credit worth, which most of them will be half a credit. Some of them she is going to be doing, maybe just a half a credit course, but we're going to be spreading it out over the 2 semesters. So then that course would just get a quarter credit, and by the end of the year, that course would have been a half a credit, but we spread it out over 2. But I will record this as she goes. So I won't be filling in anything here until she finishes 10th grade first semester. Now you can use these sheets. If you purchase them, you can use them any way you want. You might like using this for your planning sheets and using this one to write down what they actually did. So you're free to use them however you want. But let me show you how I have used these. So normally I start with obviously a blank sheet. I've got mine filled in here for you for the sake of time, but I come over here and I go, okay, English. She needs at least 3 years of English to graduate from our homeschool high school, but we're going to shoot for 4. So I've just written in English 1 credit, English 1 credit. Here's 11th grade, English 1 credit. I've done that for all 4 years. If she needs 4 credits, she probably is going to be taking English all 4 years of high school, and they need to be 1 credit. Notice I did not write in the name of the English course because I don't know yet what English she's going to be taking. She could be doing, maybe in 10th grade, she's going to do an English course, and it's going to be American Literature and Composition. That's going to be the title of the course. Maybe in 10th grade, she's not going to do an American Literature and Composition course. Maybe she's just going to do a general English course where she covers writing, and she covers just some general literature principles and maybe a little bit of grammar. Maybe then I'll call it English 10 for 10th grade English. So I'm not writing in the title, the course title yet, because I don't know what she's going to do for English. I just know that we need to get English in those 4 years. Then I come back over to my course requirements and I see math. She needs at least 2 years of math, but I know that colleges want to see Algebra 1, they want to see geometry, they want to see Algebra 2. And I know that my daughter is taking Algebra 1 this year. So I've written math down 3 times for this suggested college requirement of getting 3 credits in to be able to apply for college. And I know what she's going to take. I know the order of math. She's going to do Algebra 1 this year, then she'll do geometry, then she'll do Algebra 2. Now, just because I've put them here in her 9th, 10th, and 11th grade year, we might get to maybe 11th grade, and she's got a full load here. She's doing a lot of electives, and we just say, you know what? Let's save Algebra 2. Let's move it over to 12th grade, move one of these electives over here. So again, this is a planning sheet. You can change this throughout the 4 years. Then I look over here at science, and we are shooting for 3 credits of science with one of those, at least one with a lab. So I put science 1 credit, science 1 credit, science 1 credit. And I know that she's I know she's doing biology this year, and I could actually write in here biology plus lab because we are doing the lab for biology this year. And so I can write that in. And then I know we're going to need to do chemistry and physics. Again, she might do chemistry in 11th grade, and she might do physics in 12th grade. That might change, but I want to make sure that I at least have it written down that she needs to get 3 credits of science in. And I do the same thing. I just go through each of these subjects and the required credits and make sure that I get those in: the social sciences, the foreign language, the PE, and the Bible. Then I look at how many credits does she have left and what else do I want her to get in. I knew she was taking a film class this year that counts for arts. We've got that in there. I just have some electives squeezed in down here to add in those extra credits to total 24. Remember, we want 24 total credits. I know that I usually like my kids to take a health and nutrition class for half a credit somewhere in high school, so I put it over here in 11th grade, but it could be moved around. I also know that I like my kids to take the Dave Ramsey course for high school finances somewhere in their high school years, and that's a half a credit, so I've put that in there. For social science, usually colleges and most high schools have you do economics for half a semester and American government for half a semester. So I've put those in for her 12th grade year. So I just start planning and then I total everything up. And as you can see, her 9th grade year is a little heavy. She's got 7 credits there, and that would make 25 credits if we did all of this. So I'm probably going to cross off PE, take that out, maybe make PE in 10th grade a full credit to get that, so we can finally get that 2 full credits of PE in. So I'm going to be moving things around and changing it. I really only need her to get 24 credits in, so we'll probably take away one of these electives here. But again, this is a planning sheet. I'm showing you how I'm planning, moving things around, and trying to make it work for my high schooler. Now, one thing I want to say about PE is a lot of states require you to have some PE credits, usually around 2. If your state or requires 2 credits, or your umbrella school, or you just think 2 credits of PE sounds like a good idea, one of the things that I found really helpful with my oldest, who we've already graduated from high school, was to spread PE out over all 4 years, to take the year just to get a half a credit in each year. And so they're doing about a quarter credit each semester. And why I did that is because I really want my kids, when it comes to PE, I just want them to develop good habits of exercising on a regular basis. So I really don't want her to do no physical activity in 9th grade and like a whole year credit or 2 whole credits, cram it into 1 year. I really, the whole point for me for physical education is developing good habits of exercise on a regular basis. And so I like to just spread that out, but that's just a suggestion. After you have kind of planned and mapped out your students' 4 years of high school, I really encourage you to do this next step. Honestly, I think this next step is so important, and it's really going to make a big difference in the success of your student in the high school years. And that is to bring your student in on the process. Sit down with your high schooler and show them this plan that you have laid out. Get their input on it. If you are having them do a film course for art and they're like, Mom, I don't like film, I don't want to ever do film, then get their input. What kind of electives would you like to do? What kind of electives could we maybe create for you and your unique interests, and start working with them on that. As you sit down to start thinking about what kind of specific courses you're going to take for English or for the social sciences, what foreign language you're going to take, get their input, because your student is going to be more motivated when they have had a say in what they're doing, and they're going to retain so much more information if they're excited about the courses that they're taking. Now, all high schoolers are going to hate some of these courses. I mean, all of us have a particular subject that we don't like, but if they have some input into it, maybe into the curriculum that they get to use for that subject that they're not real interested in, that makes a big difference. And if you have a child who really hates science, maybe having some input in maybe a different type of science. Maybe they don't need to take chemistry. Maybe they could do biology and then some kind of anatomy or some kind of oceanography class or something like that. I'm forgetting what are some of the other options for high school science courses, but you get the idea. Giving them a say and an input into the planning process, the curriculum, the courses they're going to take, the electives they're going to take, is going to make a huge difference in their attitude and the success of these 4 years of high school. So make sure to bring them in on the process. And then, like I said, as they've completed the courses each semester, I like to go ahead and write those in so that I have those down as a record, and then I can remember what from my planning sheet I have actually changed and what we actually did. And so I like to keep this for my records. So that is an overview of how to plan for the high school years. Now that you know how to plan for the 4 years of high school, you need to know what records to keep. That's in the next video, so click on over there and make sure to check the description box down below. I've got a lot of helpful resources down there to help you to homeschool successfully in the high school years. I'll see you in the next video.